show is to get better together. I'm Mike. I'm a former financial advisor. I blanking hated being a financial advisor because everybody's a bunch of whiny babies. My co-host and my good friend, Avan, is an OG trader who's been around the block and knows his stuff. So we have two totally different points of view.
Screwdrivers this morning. Screwdrivers
and he's
this morning.
drinking screwdrivers because he's absolutely insane, guys. So we meet in the middle.
Voices in my head tell me I'm perfectly fine, though.
I wouldn't listen to every single voice in your head. You may want to start, holding a little intervention on the voices in your head. Regardless, we're here to get better together. I've always got the long-term, traditional, conservative point of view. Avan's got the instant, short-term, spinning point of view. And so we're going to meet in the middle, a meeting of minds, ideas, and bring them out to you. Today, we have a lot to talk about. We are obviously going to start with the big story of the week. Charles Schwab. No, I'm just absolutely kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. We're going right to the heart of it with Hood.
So I gotta say, real quick,
What's up, man?
I've been kicked out of my house because I'm now living in the doghouse because my dog, which he's really nice, he's a German Shepherd. He went and bought Robinhood stock, so now he's paying all the bills. Well, he is pretty stupid, but he quick spun it the other day when it went from ridiculous 33 to 85 in no time. No time.
Oh, yeah.
No time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Good Lord.
And so, we want everybody to get involved this morning and explain to us what we're missing. If you're in Robinhood, if you're not in Robinhood, if you think it's the craziest thing ever in terms of investing profiles, let us know. We want you guys to get in, Thunderdome it out, duke it out, tell us what your position is. Tell me why I'm a piece of shit and I'm wrong.
Okay, before we dive into that, I loved what we talked about this week. I'm excited to hear the points again. I quickly want to get the financial advisor point of view out of the way. If you were to walk into my office and say, Mike, I want to buy some Robinhood, I would say, why? Simple as that. And it would be like this. IPOs are traditionally very volatile. Do you have the stomach to handle it? Tell me, as your advisor, you're the client, you came with the idea. Tell me why you want to buy this company. What is your reason behind it? And lastly, I'd be like, let's take a look at the price together. Maybe this can be a learning moment. And long story short, I would probably end up not recommending Robinhood to my client as a financial advisor. And another reason why would be, hey, a minimum time frame for a financial advisor, minimum truly is 2 years. So I'd be like, man, if you're going to buy this thing, we're going to look at it in a 2-year window. Is this thing going to be worth $54 in 2 years? And this is going to come back to your personal thesis. So I'm already out. As an advisor, I don't like trading IPOs. They mess up portfolios. They bring in way too many emotions for the client. And guys, a free company or a zero commission company with an average account size of $250 to me does not scream $54. Tell me where I'm wrong. That's what we're looking for today.
The IPO they got valued at $38 a share. And then right out of the gate that day, I think it dropped down to 33 and some change. And the funny thing is, right? So at $38, it's 11 times earnings valuation. 11 times
11?
Earnings.
What?
Right. Right now it's trading at 54.21, which would put it pretty much roughly at 17 times earnings.
Whoa!
17 times earnings.
Wow! That and somebody out there is like,
but you have a company like Schwab, which has got a larger portfolio, more diversified, and it's only trading at 7 times earnings. So explain to me the math.
Oh God, what's the damn ticker for Schwab again? Okay. Are there
SCHW?
Thank you, my man. Are there any other comparable companies that we can think of that are not the 17, the 11 times earnings? I mean, that does seem an exorbitant. Just for example, what is Tesla trading times earnings? Isn't it around 10?
Yeah, it's high, but all of tech is high.
Agreed, but I can totally buy into the bull thesis for Tesla at 11 times earnings with the artificial intelligence, with the battery technology, and truly kind of with the delivery starting to come around.
Let's break down the model of Robinhood. Okay, first of all, they get 98% basically of their revenue from payment for order flow.
Yeah,
that's all where they get. Gary Gensler's already said that they're looking at possibly changing the payment for order flow model. So, which means Robinhood would eventually have to start charging you membership just to open up an account. Okay. Now, granted, their revenue was up 309% the first quarter, but they've been fined $70 million by FINRA. And they have probes. They have probes by both FINRA and the SEC for their employees trading meme stocks and their CEO not being registered. They've got 90 customer lawsuits going on 90? Currently. Oh, 90 lawsuits.
Jesus, man.
You've got analysts like Wolf Research that basically says this company is uninvestable and to not YOLO this stock. You've got Investor Place saying avoid this company like the plague. I mean, you've got U.S. Representative Caston has a co-sponsored bill in committee getting ready to go to the floor on how Robinhood is gamification of the stock market and how it's basically gambling. And then, of course, Gensler is got his problems with payment for order flow.
So we have regulatory issues already. We have a disruption to the current business model, which is free, right? We have lawsuits, 90 lawsuits, and now we have legislation possibly coming down that could completely change the name of the business for Robinhood. I don't want it to seem like we are just absolutely crapping out on Robinhood and it's awful, it's terrible, and anybody that uses is a dumb or it's a bad company.
No.
We just do not get it from my old school point of view to Avan's OG point of view. I don't think we're just not grasping.
Robinhood is like a gateway drug to the stock market, right? That. You start off smoking bong hits. That's Robinhood, and then you move to harder stuff. That's your TD Ameritrade, your Schwab, and yada yada yada, right?
Yep.
Robinhood is a good entry point if you just want to drop $50 a paycheck into the market, not have to worry about anything. But the problem is that there's a lot of people that are getting into the market not knowing what they're doing, making their decisions on what Wall Street Bets or Reddit tells them to do, and they're losing their money. I mean, when you had all that GameStop debacle and Robinhood stopped letting people cash out of GameStop when it was tumbling, you had people who lost all their money, and you had that one kid that ended up committing suicide, and that's one of the lawsuits.
That was so sad.
It was extremely sad.
Okay. Now, a couple things really quick. That's all we're saying is we're just bringing up the question because we just were like, I don't get it. Now, I think there are some stellar comments we have on the Benzinga Pro side. By the way, guys, we're going to be using Benzinga Pro a lot throughout today's show for a lot of charts. Jump on a free 3-week trial. What a tongue twister. Shoot me an email at mikerow@benzinga.com or just sign up for Benzinga Pro. Mention Wake Up with Benzinga. You'll get 3 weeks for free. And you could join us on this side. You have a private chat room just for subscribers. You could be on the show with us. But speaking of, there are some excellent comments in our chat on our side. Give me a quick second to bring them back up. I want to start with the first one from, Gary Morris. Gary, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. That's just awesome. What he says, what impact does a 10 to 20% correction have on Hood? Right off the bat, I agree with you, man. I think it's actually going to crush it because I don't think anybody has any idea what they're really looking for, and it obviously has no experience in that sort of situation. Vast majority of Robinhood users came on post pandemic or start of March 2020. So yeah, I think that's going to be a huge issue. That leads into Mr. Goodwin's point, which is absolutely excellent as well. Today's new trader uses charts to justify their feelings. So they love the look and feel of Robinhood, giving them almost, even as you just said, some sort of gateway drug. They're not looking at foundations, length of company existence, strength. None of that matters to Robert. Of course not. They want to do something cool outside the grain of the norm because there are so many doing it now, being successful. That's great. That's great, man. They're making it look easy. All their friends make it look easy. Thus, it still doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand how. Hey, let me finish this comment. And they are now being successful in tipping the cup from a balance to emotions. I agree with all of that. One more from Jim Morris. Dude, Jim Fairley, thanks for jumping in here, man. Predictable hype. Kathy Wood followers, not Benzinga profilers. Great point, Jim. You're so right about that.
I can't figure that woman out anymore, man.
I know. We'll jump to her in a second. Better opportunities out there. We are not here to get rich quick. That's right, man. That will burn you in the ass sooner than later. Trying to get rich quick in the market because the market is not your friend. We are here to learn and get better, protect our assets, of course, with growth and better discussion of the choices through you guys as our coaches. Hey, man, we're here to have fun together, but I appreciate that. We got a lot of experience to share with you guys. So 3 points right there just from the crowd. Yeah, a correction is absolutely, I think, going to crush the price of Robinhood. Number 2, yeah, man, this is a feel-good thing. That and Mr. Goodwin's point is basically that there's a lot of weak users on there, and once their emotions or their feelings get crushed, they're going to bail. And then last but not least, Jim, absolutely, this is all hype, man. This thing is not worth $54. It's just not worth $54. Okay, great chats, Raven. What were you saying?
So Leah from YouTube says Robinhood still blocks sales of stocks on options. I have screenshots of the removal of the sale button. So be careful with options and sales of stocks on Robinhood. Which brings me to another point. Going into the data, so much of the run up on Wednesday, where it ran up to $85, apparently was a lot of options plays. Now, I could almost swallow the fact that the stock jumped up from $33.25 to $85, and people bought into those shares, holding those shares, investing in the company, and expecting it to grow and justify that valuation. But that's not what happens. This is day trade spinners getting in and getting out, which I have absolutely no problem with day trade spinning. I do it myself. It's what churns the market. It's what gives it life. But you ended up having a correction that ends up dropping it down to $54. And I got excoriated on chat about that yesterday. You know, when I said that, because Robinhood pre-market yesterday said that they're going to get rid of or release 95 million shares from their initial investors, which dropped the stock at 10% pre-market. And of course, I brought that information up and I got ripped for it. And I said, you know, the stock's going to go down, and which it did. Not that I'm trying to bask in me being right, but you know, I take this stuff seriously. I mean, I'm not always right. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing a freaking red wig.
It's pink.
But I just want people to know that you can lose everything by not doing your due diligence, by following the herd and making simple mistakes. Dude. You have to it's all about the marathon. It's not about the sprint.
Oh, God, I'm so glad you said that. And I'm so glad you got a little precautionary tale out to the people that, hey, you can lose money on this. That's a good point, man. You were absolutely right about that $85 high being obscene. It came right down. And just to tag on to your last point, I'm looking at the RSI here this morning. Dude, it's at close to 70 already, and it's at $54. So it's going to be coming down even more today. This was This was not the golden ticket. Now, wait, let's back this up, Avan. Do you think really the money piling into Robinhood right now was just day traders? Thus, we don't need to be concerned with their risk.
I think there was a small mix of day traders that were trying to get in, get out on the push up to 85, and even when it corrected back down to it looks like 55 and then bounced back up to 72 in the same day. They were just trying to execute on that. But from what I understood, and I haven't done a deep dive yet, so I apologize, guys. I mean, I'm asleep at the wheel 9 times out of 10. But from what I understand is there was a lot of options traffic that pushed that reasoning up to 85. Now,
got it.
Call me old school, but I'm confused at how a lot of people's only trading profile is, I'm going to buy options and that's all I'm going to do. Whatever happened to people buying shares of a company because they believed in the company and they want the company to grow, and then they want to get a return on their investment, and they want to pay for their kids' college, or they want to support a high maintenance girlfriend who spends all of his money, or vice versa.
Jim's right. Jim's right in the chat, man. Jim's right in the chat. Everyone wants to get rich quick.
What's that, Jesse?
I said it's boring. That's why nobody wants to do that stuff anymore. It's boring to trade that way.
I'll give you that it is boring, and you don't get the adrenaline rush.
Right about that.
Buying going long.
It's supposed to be boring. Go to the Metallica concert on Friday nights. During the day, make your money, man. Like, God,
smoke crack nowadays just to justify the difference.
Oh, God, that's a good point. It is boring. So, how do you overcome the boring? Well, one, you'll be rich.
Smoke crack.
Don't smoke crack. Count your money. There's a big difference. Don't listen to Avan, kids. I don't know what he's talking about. You want to invest for the long term. Ask any successful person in the world what they do with their money, and I guarantee you they tell you, I don't check it every day. That is one of
Tom says on YouTube, I prefer boring, less gray hair on my head.
Boring is good. That's the way I'm completely with you on that. So I don't know, man. We're just very confused. It didn't seem like this company justified anything. I definitely think it's going to be coming down. Even how far do you think it's going to come down in the short term? Again, I just want to reiterate the chart.
I think it comes back down to its IPO price.
Oh, yeah, I think so for sure. Do you think it's going to dip below that, man?
You can never tell. Nothing in this market makes any sense anymore. It depends on how this plays out on the Hill with the bill. It depends on what ends up bleeding through when it comes to TENEV and these lawsuits. I mean, and you can never. I mean, you can have just a mass exodus. I mean, look at GameStop back in February. I mean, it was pushing up over the 300 level, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it dropped 200 points in 1 minute.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to put brakes on it twice. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Robinhood as a company is a bad company. I think it's a great gateway for people to get into the market, and the more people that are in the market, the better. But for God's sake, everybody do their due diligence. Get in, do your research. Get smart. Don't just invest because somebody freaking tells you to invest, especially me or Wall Street bets. Just learn, and buyer beware. You can lose everything in an instant.
Like this, like that.
Yeah,
literally like that. Okay. Let's give them a little bit more of that research piece. Do you have? I'm already out, guys. There's not a chance in hell I'm buying Robinhood anytime soon. There's absolutely fucking not, man. Because that's the wrong one. It just does not appeal to me personally as a trader, as I'm increasing my skills, and then two, as a always a long-term guy, I'm going to be like, they're constantly free and their average account size is terrible. Why would I, if I want that, why would I not want to eventually invest in Charles Schwab or even JP Morgan? Because JP Morgan has its You Invest, which is guys, big banks, they're still gonna have free commissions. They're gonna have more research. They just don't have the brand image. But I'm just not worried about that. If Robinhood's like transformation of the democratizing the markets is going to be around here for a while, the rest of the companies are going to follow suit. There's just no way around it. And I mean, we've already seen this happen. I don't think it's going to go bankrupt because I think Charles Schwab has proven the business model that there is clearly a demand for retail investors. But I'm just not interested in the company itself yet. I think it's way overvalued. I'm automatically out. Avan, is there a price target you could see? Maybe if it was, God forbid, $20 that you'd be like, I'll no. And you have long-term investments and you day trade.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that its profit model is set up strictly off of payment for order flow. Okay. I mean, where's my numbers? It's like 95% of their money comes from payment for order flow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got it. I get that.
I never underestimate the government's ability to further the nanny state and go, okay, you can't make your own command decisions, and we've got to protect you, and we've got to put regulation on when and how you trade and who you pay for it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of the market makers. I mean, they rip me off left and right by taking money from me between bid and ask.
Yeah, I know.
That's where they make their differential. Not to mention
sure, buddy,
buffer lag. But I mean, when your income model is derived specifically off of how many shares your users trade during a day. Now, I would love to see the numbers and see how many of their current members on Robinhood actually go in and they put $100 in the account and then never touch it again. So therefore, when they do that, you're not going to get any income from payment for order flow because you're not buying and selling shares. You just went and bought something and let it sit there. How many day traders or intraday traders are in Robinhood that are buying large amounts of shares or any amount of shares daily, which would bring that money to Robinhood? I
see what you're saying. So the data, the information is extremely valuable. It just is because they have a large user base. The clearinghouses or Citadel basically is going to want to see that information. But is that user base essentially large enough to always value or always have that attraction, but really reinforce what they're worth? Is that basically what you're saying, man?
Well, Tom on YouTube says that Hood is like tulip mania.
Yeah, I know. He's right. He's completely right. No, Tom is completely right. I think that's a good point. Oh, man. All right. Well,
someone asked me if I have a raccoon on my face.
Yeah, you probably do.
Does it look like a raccoon? Is it a raccoon?
I believe so.
It's more like
Gary. I agree with Gary Morris on our side. Long-term short. It's a long-term investment. I need a theme that plays out in the future, and I'm with you on that, man. I think that theme is already here in a lot of different ways. If it's just order flow, I'd have to really learn a little bit more about how much that data is truly worth to these clearinghouse firms or so forth to make that rational. And I agree with you, Gary. I really do. That it does suck that when your personal portfolio is flat and the indices just go up, which is just proof in the pudding that investing is hard. And trading is harder. It's just not easy to do, man. And we'll take a look at FSLY in a moment. That's a good point, man. Oh, and then
pimp it in easy.
Robert Goodwin has a comment to you, Avan. To what Avan said about what happened to believing in a company, I own 23,000 shares of AMC and have day traded probably 500 shares of it since. Way to go, man. The reason why I'm in this is because it's a 100-year-old company, isn't going anywhere in the near future. And they are making me money, not because I want to stick it to the hedgies. I like your style there, man. I like your style there.
But my argument with that is, and I would totally agree with AMC. If there was not a pandemic going on, how can you justify the valuation of a company that's not putting butts in seats?
Well, yeah, maybe not, today.
Now, if you're gonna buy AMC and hold until the end of time, then yeah, it may end up justifying its current valuation.
Well, it is making new lows. That's not good.
But that's just my personal opinion. I mean, take it as a grain of salt. Far be it from me to ever slam anybody for making money. I mean, this is what this is all about. I just, for me personally, I can't see myself putting money into AMC right now. No way.
Well,
it's too radioactive.
We're going to move on. I think Avan and I have made our points very clear. I'm never going to be in an IPO, and I'm not going to be into the flavor of the week. That's just not how our education is structured in financial advice. It's just not the way it goes. Don't pick the flavor of the week. Number one rule is don't lose money. Just don't lose money. You don't want to have to make up for lost ground. We're trying to take over the world. You don't want to give up territory to the enemy and then have to take it back just to keep going forward. That doesn't make any sense. And then
exactly.
Avan, you got a great, I mean, your point is just this fucking price is crazy. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Good chat, guys. I think we learned a decent amount there that this thing is, we're not saying it's useless. We understand the order flow. I don't understand how valuable that is going to be the long term. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, because I think there's a lot more competition truly out there that people recognize. And I mean, that's about it, right? Am I missing anything?
No, you covered everything to the T, my friend.
Well, we got a quick. Now, guys, let's move into some tickers we all want to talk about, because we wanted to talk about Robinhood. We had a quick one in the chat for Fastly. This is a company I recognize the ticker, but I'm not.
Yeah, they took a tumble, dude. Woo.
Content delivery network. Faster, more reliable online content. Okay, I'm on the. Wow, geez, oh, Pete's, dude. When did this? Well, they got wow. What happened? Well, let's check the news. Let's use Benzinga Pro in the details tab. You just literally have to type in the ticker. Everything you need to know about it is coming. Oh, earnings sucked, huh? Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think
that's. Oh, well, I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon did the same thing. Amazon's earnings came out. Now, granted, their sales were a little off, but I mean, everybody came out of the pandemic, started thinking, okay, the vaccine's out, the world is open again, so they started, going physically to brick and mortar stores. But we're right back again with outbreaks, and we may end up being back at square one. But enough of the downers. Let's get back to what you were talking about. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. I just want to take a quick look with the team here, see if we can learn anything from it. Yeah, that does not look like it's coming back soon. From what I've learned from Joseph is when this short-term this is the 20-day. Basically, anytime you have the short-term crossing and the downside with the long-term moving average, it just basically is not there. It's not good for you. That's what I'm seeing here. I don't think it's going to be coming back anytime soon. But your RSI on a daily candle is actually under 30, so there might be a quick turnaround. But it's got a lot of work to go. And I hate seeing bad earnings come out, because it feels like the market puts so much emphasis into making money in a nanosecond that the only thing that will change course is a news story or a new catalyst. Thus, when I hear or see bad earnings, I see shit. Now I'm stuck with this thing for the next 3 months, unless there's some miraculous news story that comes out.
Which is why it's important, and it's such a horrible, shameless plug. But that's why it's important to have Benzinga Pro, man, because you are getting real-time.
That's so true.
Information, intelligence, able to make split decisions on getting in, getting out of stocks, because Anybody who's been in this game long enough knows that a stock will make a huge move or up or down just by what the news feed says. Not about earnings, not about the reinvention of the wheel, but the fact that it's on the news ticker, it means your stock will freaking tumble or go through the roof, and you want access to that information. Which reminds me, my friends on YouTube, come join us. Get your faces on video. Come turn on your microphones. Get the 3-week free trial through Mike. Come hang out with us. If you like it, hey, we love to have you hang around. If you don't, we understand that as well. Okay, shameless plug over. I'm going to get my screwdriver.
Okay, enjoy that. Yeah, you know what, Gary, let's take a look at Benzinga Pro broke that story too, by the way. And yeah, just to reinforce Avan's point, there's a lot of bad news on Fastly, unfortunately, right now. 2 downgrades yesterday. That's not good. I think that thing's going to be dead in the water for a minute until something. Oh, and then, interesting story. That's partner content, though. That's BS. Okay. Well, let's take a look at a story we broke here on Benzinga. You had this information first, people. You really did. This was yours to behold. Boom. Let's take a quick look at the chart first. Pretty nuts. Pretty absolutely incredible. Coming down to earth just a little bit, but I mean, don't you just love that, how it's all flat? So this is a great example of exactly what we're talking about.
That's boring.
Yeah, that's boring, right? Straight for months doing absolutely nothing, and then out of the clear blue sky, boom. Exclusive. These are all from Benzinga. Done. Now, yeah. Oh, and we had the insane price targets earlier this week too. The absolutely insane. It's just quite an incredible ride for BeyondSpring. I'm bummed I missed this one. I think this would have been an easy one. They got their approval. That's basically anything you need. But this is what drives price, guys. This breaking story is what just took it up. Followed up by a bunch of exclusive information from the CEO yesterday, provided by Benzinga. Pat on our backs. Absolutely insane. Cool. All right. Well, what other tickers do we have? Oh, in honor of our main man, Joseph, who is enjoying a nice vacation in California. He wanted to bring this up, and he's not here, so I'm going to do it for him. CarMax hit an all-time high, man. CarMax hit an all-time high this week. Boom, at 140. It's coming down a little bit, but that is absolutely awesome. Joseph has a very strong bullish thesis on the used car market. We've talked about that several times in this show. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. A little bit of a drop off here, but I'm not too worried about that. RSI was just a little bit high. It might have been a little overbought. Interesting story. Information was all here. I don't think there's anything major in the news. Nope. Just got a new 52-week high earlier this week.
No, it's still the continuation of semiconductor issues for new cars. And of course, if you can't buy a new car because it doesn't have a semiconductor, I mean, I was reading that where some car makers were leaving out certain semiconductors in their new cars, which would, deny the new vehicle certain attributes. I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm hoping that it's not air conditioning and a radio,
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, by the way, Gary, you are very welcome. He said, mentioned selling Ford last week at 1480-ish, got back in this week at 1348 on Mike's 1350 target, moving up. Nice call, Mike. Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you. But obviously, I'm a big Ford guy. I think that the story is absolutely great. And they had, they are my favorite stock, but the headlines this week, man, the big three look so good on the White House lawn. Those products look so good. I'm so happy to see all of that coming back around full circle. It's just well-deserved. And GM did the same thing, man. Sandra, good to see you.
The administration say that they want 40% of all 50. Vehicles to be 50 by 2025 or something like that?
I think it's 2030. And guys, that's absolutely fucking insane. I don't think that's happening at all. at all. I don't know if we have the news on that exactly what the executive order was yesterday, but I just don't see that. 2030, they want 50% of U.S. car sales to be EVs by 2030. Here's the story right here. I'm just not buying that at all.
I mean, I would love that to come to fruition, but I mean, I don't know with all that's going on and jobs not getting filled and people having to go back to staying home. If we're going to be in a position to buy a whole bunch of new cars, I mean, 50%.
Well, I mean, that's great news for General Motors is they want their entire fleet to be electric by 2030.
And don't get me started on this whole climate change thing, because I was reading a study where it said it made absolutely no sense that you actually did worse for your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
For junking your current car so you could buy yourself an electric car.
Everybody knows that. Everybody, yeah.
Landfills full of junk just so you can buy yourself an electric car.
Guys, if you want to buy into conspiracy theories of the elites running the world, convincing everyone in the planet to buy an electric vehicle and completely ignoring the fact that they have an incredible downside to the environment, it just is a classic example. Like, if there's somebody out there trying to destroy the world, completely strip mining the entire world and burning natural gas for the end of time to power these cars so everybody can just feel good. Like, good God, that's a classic.
Well, you know me, I don't believe in conspiracy theories.
I do. I think they're fun.
I do. I'm just
I know, I know you do. I thought one day we'll do maybe around Christmas time we'll do an Avan conspiracy special.
So who has joined us on video? Who's that gentleman? Who's that gentleman that's got a better looking beard than I do?
Oh man, better looking beard.
My name's Rob. I'm actually already a Benzinga Pro member. I've been there about a month and a half, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can.
Well, hey Rob, tell us what you're into this week. What you got going on? Did you buy anything new this week?
Well, I'm trying to learn to day trade, and I've got a relatively small account, make relatively small bets.
Good.
But
way to go.
Mostly winners. So I'm happy right now. I'm just in the learning phase. I'm definitely not in the dive in pro phase, but I'm learning more every day with you guys. So that helps a lot.
Hey man, we're happy to hear that. Thanks for being here and piping in.
I'll tell you the one thing that you need to learn, one of the most important things you can learn for day trading is learn the study called MACD, MACD. Learn how that study works when it comes to stocks, and that will make your day go much easier when you go to day trade.
Right. Can I ask one question real quick?
Absolutely.
I look at the 1 and 5 minute charts a lot, and I don't look at longer charts very much when I'm day trading. Do I need to look at the longer charts?
You need to look at everything. You need to look at trends.
Here's why. Yes, you do need to look at the longer chart, because the longer chart is going to give you essentially the bedrock of the momentum. Rob, that's a great question. No, you're not going to trade on the long-term chart, but you do need to know, hey, this is trending in this example. And the easiest way to put it, the easiest example is going to be when the 50 crosses the 200-day moving average. When that happens, yeah, then you want to hyper focus on your 1 and 5 minute chart. So then you're getting the perfect price you want. You're going to want to use tools like VWAP, and Benzinga Pro has a lot of help. Bro, if you didn't know, go to the help site, upper right-hand corner, boom, go scroll down to indicator videos, and we've got that covered for you for free every single day, 24/7. You're going to want the VWAP indicator. So long story short, use the long-term view to kind of find your target, and then you immediately switch to the short-term to find your price. Simple as that.
And so to answer your question earlier, the stocks that I've been looking at and trading on is Solis, and then MMAT, a small one called CXDC, AEI, things, BYSI, things like that.
What is MMT? And we had I want to jump back to that arrival company in a minute, so we're not going anywhere on that. But Rob, what's MMAT? I love materials right now, by the way. So tell us a little bit more about it, man. What caught your eye?
I was basically just, I go to Reuters and I saw a couple articles on it. And so I put it on my watch list. And
Cool.
So it showed up on signals in the watch list. And really, I was just watching the candlesticks. And so just on the 1 and 5 minute candlesticks, it looked like a good buy. And so I jumped in, and I'm not in for more than 20 or 30 seconds. But, I get in and then got out with a decent profit. And so it's right now, it's just I'm looking at things that are in the news, and then I'm watching for things showing up on the ticker there on Benzinga Pro, and then I'm watching the candlesticks, and I know some of the bullish patterns, and so I'm looking for those. I'm looking for the EMAs to cross and all that kind of stuff, and I'm trying to get in relatively early, and I've gotten a lot better. Let me tell you, in the past 45 days, I've gotten a lot better, and I've just got so much more to learn, and that's why I'm here.
Cheers.
Just be advised. If you're going to day trade a stock, my rule of thumb is I don't day trade a stock unless I'm prepared to have to hold it long in case something goes south. If for some ungodly reason you go to day trade, spend something, and then it takes 8% for no reason whatsoever, and you've got to hold longs because the number one rule in this market is don't lose money. Number two is go see number one, right? So you don't lose money. So that means if it takes a dive on you, you may have to hold it long to at least break even. So that's my rule of thumb. I mean, not everybody subscribes to it. Carpe diem.
No, that's
do what
pretty
you
good.
want, but that's just the way I've always, I've always day traded stuff that I've done all my due diligence just to make sure that in the event that for some ungodly reason, Reddit or whatever tells the gang to sell all their shares at 9:54 a.m. and I happen to buy at 9:50 and it goes south on me, I know that at least at some point down the road, it's going to at least bounce back.
That is excellent advice. And Dave, I don't think he's trying to tell you that to scare you that you can't jump into short-term trades. But if you're going to slowly increase that dollar size based on a percentage of your account, the biggest ones you're going to want to be able to hold for the long term, I think, is what he's saying. I think that's a great point. Again, don't be scared to jump into something, but he's got a great point, man. You don't want to lose money, so you got to be prepared to make it in the long run too. Good stuff, man. Yeah. Oh, great, Rob. Great comment for you in the chat from Mr. Gary Morris. Position size and know your exit, both for profit and loss. I think it's the loss one is easy to see visually because you just want to keep increasing your stop losses. But knowing when the hell you want to get out on profit, dude, that will set you up for success. That is one skill to really master, man. Also, great. Thank you, Sandra. Rob, look at all this friggin' help. This is beautiful, man. This is the point of the show, guys. Get better together. Sandra's coming in. Great comment for Rob. Don't be afraid to cut your losses early, too. That always needs to be emphasized. Everybody knows it, but we got to say it again. Don't be afraid to
cut
it.
There are 100,000 shows out there that basically force feed you and tell you what to buy. We are the one show that's out there that's democratized. It's all about you guys. You guys come on, tell us what you're into, what you're not into, what you made money on, what you lost money, duke it out. Tell us, how you feel. Yell at us, call me a piece of shit. I don't care. That's what my therapy is for.
Nobody cares. Right on. Well, let's jump back so there was a comment earlier in our private Benzinga Pro chat for a company called Arrival. You have piqued my interest, man, on Arrival. Reinventing the automotive industry with its entirely new approach to assembly and design of electric vehicles. And more importantly, what I love, and this is my big bullish thesis on Ford, they are going to dominate the electric commercial vehicle market. And this is Arrival. This company is going to want to do the same thing. Production of commercial electric vehicle vans and buses. And I love that even better because buses, that's good. That's a good one to have. Let's take a look at the chart on this one. Take a look at some financials after that. Okay, definitely dipping down. I'm not terrified of that. So right off the bat on the preliminary surface, I'm going to be interested as a buy. I'm also going to be very interested in the long term on this for two reasons. Number one, I love the thesis of a commercial electric vehicle, particularly a bus. Number two, based on my technicals, I'm at the bottom rung of these, so I think I'm getting an excellent entry point. And it seems like it has, yeah, bingo. This stock has got a lot of support right about here. Let's grab a line there. So I'm right at this support of about 1283, and I'm a little bit below that right now at 1244. As you guys can see, we're at the bottom of our Bollinger Bands, which is our standard deviation from our mean. So basically, the stock is saying it's been on the bell curve. It's been a little bit to the negative side of the probability for a little too long. I'll explain again that later. My technicals are going south, but I think they're going to level out. I think it's a little oversold. I like the thesis. I'd have to do a little bit more dive into the company and its news and some financials, but great pick out of the chat. Way to go. Who the hell was that? Gary Smith. Props to you, man. God, that's Gary. So good. And Rob, glad you spoke up again. What he was saying, one of his favorite pieces of advice so far is don't be upset. Don't let your emotions get on top of you. Yeah. Or get in control of you. Don't get out on top of the profit. It's okay. Take what you made and put in another profitable trade. Dude, that's so right, Rob. Don't get bogged down. There's always another one.
Yeah, what's the other product? Go ahead.
A good trade for me a couple of days ago. I made 1.5 points, but then right after I got out, it went up another point. Instead of being upset about it, I just took that 1.5 points and went somewhere else.
Move the F on. Not my problem. I've got money. I got paid. I don't need to worry about it. And you know what, Rob? Here's exactly what happens when you try to get that second point. It goes down 0.5 point. You wait. It goes down another 0.5 point. You keep waiting, and you end up right back to where you started. Literally. Take your money, man. Get paid. Pay yourself. Doesn't mean you can't get back in. There's no rule you can't trade the same stock, right? Right, Avan? Pretty sure that's okay.
No, you could. Hey, if you watch the volatility of a certain stock during the day, some make moves 4, 5, 6 times a day, up and down 0.5%, 1%. If you get in and get out at the right time, you can trade the same single stock 4 or 5 times a day and, make a ton of money.
Yeah, for sure you can, man. That's going to be a no-brainer. Last little piece of advice on Arrival. Now it's starting to, I really like that name too. Man, there's a lot of one of the first things I do when I'm reading about a new company is I start to browse the headlines like this. I want to see the momentum of the company for at least the last quarter. So I can see, as we know, the news is what moves the stock. So I want to see, is it have some positive momentum or does it have negative momentum from the news? Because the rest of the shit doesn't matter anymore. Good news here, a lot of good news on the infrastructure. And then we had a great piece in the chat. Infrastructure bill is going to include $70 billion over 5 years, authorized spending for transit, starting with $13.5 billion or so in 2022 next year, and then increasing to over $14.5 by 2026, meaning there's going to be money pumped into EV transit, and this company happens to specialize in that.
Let's talk about what's in the bill that people aren't talking about.
What's that, dude? What's that?
Okay, it's going to mandate that all new cars have to have a monitoring device for drunk driving, which means it's going to monitor how you drive, and it's also going to monitor the blood alcohol level of the driver.
How the hell is it going to do that?
Breathalyzer.
Probably put a breathalyzer in, and then also analyze your eye movement and through biometrics that how you're behaving, and then of course how your car is driving.
I'm not blowing into a tube again to start my car. I'm absolutely not doing that, man. I'll buy a helicopter. I don't know. I'll figure that.
You've done that 1,000 times just to get a ride, Mike.
I've never, ever gone drunk or driving. I may have had a minor in possession when I was in college and had
but you've blown into a tube to get a ride.
Hey,
maybe.
Let me jump in on this real quick. So now, if you think that was to go into effect, how would that affect Uber and Lyft? Would they get a surge because of the fact that people would need to go that way?
I imagine that sooner or later, people are going to stop buying all the cars that they buy now. When you're able to have so many automated Ubers everywhere, I mean, why own a car that sits in your driveway or sits in the parking lot 95% of the time, and you pay this ridiculous amount? I mean, wouldn't you as a consumer much rather pay less money a month for a vehicle that you don't have to maintain, that has a huge depreciation, and you've got to pay, all of these payments on it, when you could just, automatically get autonomous driving to pick you up, drop you off?
Autonomous vehicles are a ways off, dude. Do not underestimate how long it's going to. Yes, they are. And that was not his
10
question.
years.
His question is
10 years.
10, yeah, I'm with Jesse, dude. Oh my God, bro. No, they're not even.
I'm not getting into an automated vehicle anytime soon with my children. I'll tell you that.
But I like your style, Jesse. Now, I think he's got a great point. And yeah, dude, I would see. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if the breathalyzer is gonna like curb demand for new vehicles. But I am still gonna be very bullish on Lyft overall. The price targets back it up. I think that one's just a little bit harder to connect, but I do think I don't know if we're going to have an onslaught of cheap electric vehicles. Thus, I think there is going to be a subset to the consumer base that is going to rely on Lyft. And I think as people return back to the city, they're just going to be taking more cabs. I think it's as simple as that.
Well, my argument as well is what autonomous Uber or Lyft vehicle is going to show up and take me and my boat down to the river with my family?
Oh, that
probably the same one that's delivering pizzas now. I mean, Tesla's has already publicly said that they're going to turn Teslas into autonomous taxis.
Bro,
they've already flat out said it.
If why do you believe taxi that can come in and hitch my boat to the back of a trailer and take it to the river for me, then I'm in.
Good point, Jesse. That's a great point, man. Yeah, I'm not renting an autonomous truck. That's a great point.
Well, think about it, guys. It was only 20 years ago that we didn't even have a smartphone. We were still using dial-up internet. So
totally different. Totally different.
Yeah,
startup is iPhones are
internet doesn't have my life in its hands.
My point is that technology moves so fast, right? Moore's law doubles on itself every 8 months. So technology moves so fast. So what used to take 10 years now only takes 1 in terms of technology. Before you know it, you'll have sensors on vehicles that will automatically be able to lower the vehicle, back it up, put it into the hitch, attach itself, and then off you go. I mean,
my grandchildren will have that. I believe that.
Well, no, I guarantee you the truck will be able to, you'll be able to push a button and the truck will back itself up.
Yeah, the Cybertruck will be able to do that.
But even you're missing the point that the autonomous vehicle requires artificial intelligence, which is not as simple as computer programming, or what that law is really saying is processing power of the information.
Which is why Tesla invested all the money into a supercomputer.
Do not believe anything Tesla says.
Here we go again.
Where is the semi? Where is the semi? It's
the semi is coming out. The semi is coming out in 2 months, man.
No, it's not. They said it's 2022 now. That's 5 years.
I don't even own Tesla stock. I don't want to own Tesla stock. It's too volatile for me. But I do read the tea leaves, man. And I'm not a huge fan of Elon either. But I do see. You do not. You hate him because he took your freaking
my girlfriend to prom.
Your date at prom. But I mean, I know that it's coming. It's coming sooner or later, and it's just the natural progression of things.
I know we're about to end, and I only have a few more minutes before I have to jump off. But I wanted to attack one more thing because you guys were talking about the auto industry and how big it is. And I know a big player that owns one of the top 30 dealerships in the nation here locally, and they canceled 5 builds over the next 3 years. Due to the fact that Ford and other manufacturers are talking about switching up to, almost virtually all online sales and less brick and mortar.
Yeah. Yep.
So
right, dude.
I just think that's another thing to look at for Ford, because if you're thinking about that, I mean, what if they take away all that power from the local dealers and they can cut massive costs because they're not having to, put out incentives, things of that nature. You're just going to say, okay, I like the Ford truck. It's $45,000. That's what I pay for it.
Click.
No negotiating, nothing.
Well, Well, I mean, that'd be great because I don't like the salesmen. But Ford and all your major car companies finance the financing, right? So all your dealerships, all your local dealerships are enslaved by their dealership programs. And of course, they get fronted cars. So if Ford finally says, well, screw it, I'm not going to freaking pay for financing and I'm not going to front you these cars, these guys are going to go out of business.
I know. I'm not freaking out about that. I think Tesla was so right about that. It's probably the wave of the future. We'll see. Before we go, there are some great moments, great comments in the chat I want to get on here. Gary Smith, airline industry report, federal aviation, the FAA will test 2 remote-controlled unmanned aircraft with the goal of integrating pilotless airplanes into U.S. airspace. The objective, analyst reports, is that UPS and FedEx will deliver freight in pilotless aircraft. Terrified of that because autopilot's been around forever. Airlines employ with high incomes pilots to man the aircraft in unforeseen circumstances. I guess freight's a little bit different, so there's nobody on the back of the board. But interesting. I wonder if we will see pilotless aircrafts by the middle of the decade. Salvatore Semi is awaiting new, bigger battery, which they are ramping up, the 4680s. They just said I think it was this week as well, they need another third party to bring in more batteries. I hope it comes, man. I love EVs. I want a Mach-E so bad. I hope it does. TPS stock for driverless freight semis. Thank you, Gary. We're going to throw that up in the background so everybody can see that. Is that Too Simple Holdings? Is that right? And then, no, Gary, I could never imagine the Indy 500 without drivers. Salvatore, even with online sales, the current big 3 dealers are still allowed the dealers to add a markup. They are not like Tesla with fixed pricing. True, but Tesla also has increased the Model S by $10,000. I think, it's July? I mean, that they're not, guys, cars are expensive. They're never going to be your friend. Man. Oh, wow. And then, working with a new drag strip, we're going to have a manual transmission class. I know how to drive a stick. I'm one of the, wow, Gary, you've been to 50 Indy 500s. Oh, Jesse, it is so great you jumped in the conversation. Jesse, I'm glad you did, man. This is the shit we got to talk about. We want to know. This is the only way we get better, guys, is if we're all talking together. Avan and I literally started the show to design it as like 2 guys getting together afterward, having a beer, and talking about the market. That was literally the brainstorm for the show. Like, wouldn't it be great?
That was it.
That was it. It was just us going back and forth, talking about shit that catches our eye. So, Jesse, I'm glad you jumped in. Bro, you probably overheard us at the end of the bar. Like, oh, I'm going to come join those guys and go have a beer with them. They're talking stocks. So come
Not to mention Robert turning on their video and joining us. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Dude, so many autonomous vehicle. This is another one, man. Oh, yeah, Gary, we are talking about, we wanted to get to read so bad this week. Man, we have a few autonomous, we got to add these to the, I'm going to double back on the, I got into trouble last week again for ending late because I do that all the time. So we do need to end here in a second. What's the current price on Reed? Earnings, guys, for anybody that, I'll take that. Anybody that doesn't know, this is our secret penny stock company. We're bullish on Reed because they have they sell basically beverages, and they got a huge contract with Walmart and another big contract. We are eagerly anticipating next Thursday's earnings. Check out Reed. Do a little bit of due diligence. It's a good one. Avan, we gotta get the hell out of this party, man. It's gonna look. We're
everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everybody.
Been a lot of fun. I will grab the tickers out of the chat and I will put them in a watch list so we can stay up on them, because these autonomous vehicles and these a lot of great tickers today. You guys have been awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm going to be in Nashville, so I'll be going to a race this week with real drivers, real cars, and real engines. I'm excited. Headed to Nashville. Wish me luck. Hopefully I don't get sick.
Call me if you get arrested.
I won't be arrested. I'm not driving. Okay. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. You guys make this the best. We have so much fun getting to hang out with you. Avan and I thank you very much, and hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you later. Good one.